Well, we just got down here in the bottom, and you can tell it's gotten dark. Beans start to get damp, and yeah, I plugged the rotor up. But I'm about to show you why I love these CaseIH flagship combines. In fact, it's the main reason I've got a flagship combine and won't consider any other brand. For the most part, if it's plugged up, I don't even have to leave the cab.
Everybody, look, you got that. You can't even see the drone. Nothing like cutting 5 to 18 bushel beans. His lights have been on for a while, and yet no auger. Just hanging out, trying to be able to see. Oh, where'd it go? Did we lose the drone? What happened? Where'd it go? She don't like it either. Oh! There's a hawk out there. Okay, alright. Oh! You really get that drone a little too close, partner. But what a pretty day. Pretty day, but 5 to 18 bushel beans ain't gonna pay the bills, that's for sure.
Oh, we just got this farm wrapped up. This should be the last of our poor full season beans. That field in Madison County we're going to next should be significantly better, being all bottom ground. So, but still, these beans average better than what I thought they were. It's showing us as a final average of 29 bushels per acre. And you look at the yield monitor here. I can't get that without any glare on it, but you can see the two bottoms right here. And then right here, the two good bottoms, see how much higher the yield was. Look at the legend. Anything dark green or above is 60 bushels, and then a little bit lighter green is 50 bushels, and then down here, you get into the tans and orange. We're down in the 30, 20 bushel range, so this kind of gives you an idea of what this farm looked like. You know, 80% of it is thin hill ground in that 20 bushel range. You know, I said during the crop tour, I thought we'd see a whole lot of 10 bushel or less beans, and fortunately we didn't see that. You know, all the spots I thought was going to be 10 bushel beans, you know, they was 15 to 20 bushel beans. Just like the corn crop, you know, I underestimated what the soybean crop was going to be. But however, my estimate on soybeans was so low, I'm not going to say that I'm pleasantly surprised. It's still a pretty miserable crop. Definitely the worst I've cut in 17 years. Man, can't even hardly see out there my glass. Anyway, we're gonna go up here, drop the trailer, hurry up and get moved to the next farm and try and make a little dent in it before it gets too damp this evening. Ooh, y'all see all that white over there? Ooh, look at that white. Man, that kind of looks a lot better than I thought it was going to. I know y'all can't see it for the sun, but trust me, I was not expecting it to look that good. We might have a halfway decent cotton crop. I still see a few dark areas though. We still got a few more bowls open up, but I believe early next week she's gonna be ready to go.
And another group of 30 standing with that tooth cut, the right shoulder there.
All right, here's another field that we defoliated this a few days after the one that I just showed you, and there's definitely a few more bowls out there that need to open up. But if you remember from the crop tour, this is one I was in at towards the very end, and I was really disheartened with it, you know. And ultimately, I mean, this isn't going to be great cotton over here. I think the other field I showed you's got a lot better potential, but still, with it all open, it looks better than I thought it would. But I still think this is probably going to be a good ways away from being 2-bale cotton. In fact, if I had to guess, I'm going to say about a bale and a half, 750 pound cotton is what we could very well be looking at. And right up here, we're gonna get our first look at the ripping plots, see if we can see any visual difference. Right out there, there's an orange flag, and I got 12 rows ripped, 12 rows unripped, and then replicated down through here. And I know y'all certainly can't see it on the camera, but I might be able to see just a little bit of difference, but I don't think we're going to see any earth-shattering results out of the cotton ripping plot. I gotta say, it's a whole lot more pleasant cutting beans over here. These beans, you know, died naturally, and yeah, we got a little bit of dust here at the feeder house, but it ain't nothing like what that other farm was. Man alive, I hope I never have to cut beans like those again. Give me some tough green stem beans, high yielding beans any day over that junk. Now we're making our second pass around the field, and I'm getting a full bin full all the way around. I think this is like a 47 acre field, and I mean, for the most part, I mean, they're doing pretty good. You know, we're still around the edge, got the deer pressure, you know, shading, stuff like that. And I mean, that's a pretty solid number. I'm happy with that. You know, once we get on out there, I mean, we should be consistently seeing, you know, numbers hopefully in the 60s. But I can sure tell these things are getting damp in a hurry. I'm already starting to push up piles. I don't know how much longer we'll be able to go. I was hoping to get a little bit more done over here than what I have. Give us a, you know, an easy day tomorrow, because I'm gonna have in the morning, I'm gonna have Kelly and Andy doing a bunch of defoliating. You know, probably, I don't know, 175 acres or so at least. So I'm gonna be out here by myself for a little bit tomorrow while they're getting that cotton spray, because we can't wait any longer on it. I mean, we need to, you know, we need to get that defoliant on so these bowls can be opening up, and once that picker starts rolling, you know, we don't want to have to shut it down and wait on cotton to open up. You know, once we get into October. You know, the weather for harvesting has been great so far this year, but we certainly can't expect it to last forever. And the last thing we need is, you know, drag our feet on getting it defoliated. Then we have a big cold front come in, you know, drop a bunch of rain on, you know, some relatively low yielding cotton, and then further lose weight, hurt grade, and all that kind of stuff. Well, we got the end rows done. Now we're taking off down through the middle, and well, we got some solid yields out here. Nothing spectacular, but pretty solid. I'll take that. That's a win this year. I guarantee you, though, another inch of rain there, probably early to mid-August. Instead of 60 bushel beans, we'd be looking at 75, 80 bushel beans easily. Holy crap. Man, we hit a hot spot out here. That wasn't on my bingo card today. Look at that. Woo! 90, 91. And the shortest beans out here, too. That'll fill up a truck in a hurry. I ain't gonna lie, I needed that today. After staring at a bunch of 20s all day long, that'll put a little smile on my face. I mean, you can tell it's gotten dark. Beans start to get damp, and pretty good sized beans. Yeah, I'll plug the rotor up, but I'm about to show you why I love these CaseIH flagship combines. In fact, it's the main reason I've got a flagship combine and won't consider any other brand. For the most part, if it's plugged up, I don't even have to leave the cab. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower the concaves all the way. I think it goes up to about 53. All right, 57 looks like it is. All right, now I'm gonna engage the separator backwards, and that enables the deslug feature. So now we engage the separator, wide open throttle, Shut up. And then we use our rotor speed button here to rock the rotor back and forth. Back, forward, back, forward. And we'll just have to keep on doing this, and then eventually it'll work the slug loose. If the slug's bad enough, I might actually have to get out and put the rotor transmission into first gear. I've got it in second gear right now, and might have to put it in first gear, just get a little bit more torque. But we'll just sit here and keep rocking the back and forth, and in every instance so far that this has ever happened to me, I mean, eventually we can get it cleared out. I've got a pretty good slug in there now, and it's damp, so we'll know it's starting to get cleared when our RPMs on the start speeding up. All right, I think we're finally starting to get somewhere. It's rotor's moving more and more before it comes to a stop. We're getting close to clearing it out. Well, I say that, and then it just hit another hard spot. And the reason that it can do this, whereas, you know, your John Deere's, it can't do it. I don't think your New Hollands can do it. Any of the other rotary drive combines can't do it, because all of those combines have the rotor driven by a belt on a variable speed sheave system. Whereas the rotor on this combine is driven by a CVT transmission. No, there's no belt drive on it, so that's a huge advantage in this type of situation. All right, come on, I think we got it now. I can feel the combine shaking. It's kicking the slugs out. All right, think we got it cleared. Turn back to our rotor screen. All right, watch our rotor speed here. We're going to engage the rotor now. There we go. Look at that, never had to leave the cab, never had to get dirty, get dusty, or anything else. Now we'll put our concave back to where it was and keep on rolling. And that's why I'll never have another combine other than a CaseIH.
It is now almost 8 o'clock. Carter went to town to go get us food because, well, I haven't gone grocery shopping in 3 weeks. We've been so busy, I've had no time, so it's nice to have a 17-year-old who can just go pick up food.
Well, I'm all by myself out here this morning. Before I get into that, look at this brown streak right through there. It kind of wandered around through there, and I would like to know what's going on with that strip. When I was out here scouting for pigweeds, I mean, it was plain as day. Those beans was wilted worse than any bean I've ever seen in my life, and I mean, there ain't hardly nothing on them. So I don't know if it's a streak of sand or something that goes through there, but I sure would like to know. We're gonna bring the ripper down here tomorrow and wonder if it's gonna pull easier or harder whenever I go through that streak. Maybe I need to pull some soil samples. Anyway, like I said, I'm out here all by myself this morning. Kelly and Andy are on the sprayer getting some more cotton defoliated. Like I said, we should get done with full season beans today, and we're going to be ready to turn our attention to picking cotton, and we don't want that picker to stop. So they're finishing up the first shot on my last of my cotton, and then going back and spraying a couple loads of second shot on some we had defoliated, I don't know, about 6 or 7 days ago. And hopefully, you know, it should be ready by the time we get our first cotton picked and get over there to it. Anyway, I think they're spraying about 180 acres, 190 acres, something like that. So they ought to be done before too much longer, but until then, I'm gonna be out here getting these beans by myself. I hope they get done before I need a semi truck. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to stop everything, drive all the way back shop, get the semi truck, and bring it out here. But I started with an empty grain buggy, and hopefully Kelly will get Andy filled up with the last load he's going to need. Drive the water truck in to be able to bring the semi truck out before I have to stop anything. Anyway, now that things have dried up and I can kind of keep a smooth, consistent flow through here, these beans are a lot more variable than what I thought. I mean, I've seen, you know, anywhere from 25, 35 bushel beans, upwards of 90 bushel beans out here. And I thought the beans would be a lot more consistent. Like right here in this area, they're yielding 80. I mean, these look like fantastic beans, some of the best beans I've ever grown. But then, you know, you go 100 yards and for whatever reason, I don't know if it, like I said, sandy spots or whatever, yields will fall down to 50, you know, 40, something like that. I just hit 90 bushels on my monitor. Man, just if we'd gotten one more inch of rain this year, I mean, that would have made all the difference in yield. You know, right now this farm, after cutting most of the lowest yielding spots on this farm's sitting at 52 bushels. So I mean, it's doing good. Not what it's capable of, but for the year, I mean, it's doing really good. And I'm making a profit on this. But unfortunately, it's going to take all the profit I'm going to make on this 60 acres to cover the loss on the other farm of 80 acres. So, but this year, if I can just break even, I mean, that would be a huge win. And that's still definitely in question. You should be able to see pretty good right here. See, here's these 80 and 90 bushel beans, and you can kind of see a line when we get to the other end. You see how discolored they are. It goes from you know, real light tawny tan right here to dark gray with some black. That's where it goes up a hill and the soil gets thin and yields really drop off. You know, that's where I'm saying, you know, 30 bushel beans is up there on that end. I mean, look at that. Man, what might have been and what this farm is capable of doing. This variety is Pioneer 48 A14E enlist bean, older variety. Got the same genetics as 47 AT64, which is absolutely the best bean I've ever grown. Unfortunately, Pioneer quit producing them this year. Made me very upset. All right, you can see the discoloration line right there, real easy. And then you can kind of see that streak goes out to a point right out in here with good beans here and good beans on the other side. You know, that's the kind of variability we're seeing out here. See, it ain't all peaches and cream. There's some bad stuff out here too. All right, we're back to that brown streak again. We got done with all that over there, and I mean, you can clearly see it kind of, you know, curving, meandering down through the field, you know, probably about 8-9 feet wide. And all of a sudden it stops literally right there. That makes no sense whatsoever. I would give anything to know what exactly caused that. I mean, I've seen it in other years out here. You know, I've seen it in cotton too, down here. I mean, it's not nutrient. It's you know, it's not pH. It's something that causes low water holding capacity. But literally, it's just right in that little narrow strip. The only thing I can think of is like, it's like almost nothing but pure sand. But I've looked at the soil and it doesn't appear, you know, any more sandy or silty than normal. Maybe it's some kind of disease that affects the roots that, it can't draw up the moisture and nutrients like the rest of it can. But to be that concentrated in that little of a band, you know, nematodes could do something like that. But, you know, generally, you know, you're going to have, like, you know, areas of the field, you know, splotches. It won't be a long, narrow strip that all of a sudden, I mean, has a hard cutoff. It won't be like that. So that's got my curiosity up. All right, here we are on the other end of the field, and you can see how that streak continues. It's a little bit wider down here, but I mean, it's perfectly consistent down through there. What in the world could be causing that? Man, these are some tough beans down here, but hey, I'll take tough beans if, well, 75 in that spot. I'll take them all day long, but man, they are some tough beans. But I'm not by myself anymore. Kelly and Andy just got done spraying and got over here, so it's all hands on deck. Let's try and get this farm finished up as quickly as possible so we can get things moved back to the shop. I want to get the grain buggy unhooked from the tractor, get it hooked up to the ripper tonight, so first thing in the morning I can come down here and start ripping ground. Andy's still got probably about 30 acres of cover crop to drill on our first farm. Then he's going to be swapping blends in the drill, going to our corn mix with a lot of legumes, and then coming down here and drilling this. And I want to try and be as far ahead of him as possible so he don't have to sit around and wait on me to rip. We've also got the first full weekend of the zombie trail starting up tonight. We opened up last Saturday night. Didn't really, we really don't expect much on opening night, especially with it being in September, but had a pretty nice crowd. Had a total, I don't know, 180 something people come through the zombie trail and camp blood, so that was really good for an opening night. And then attendance is just going to go up from here. We kind of expect a smallish crowd this weekend. It's only the first full weekend of October. It's hot outside, people not necessarily in the Halloween spirit yet, but it should be quite a bit better than last weekend, and it's only going to grow as we go throughout October. So I'm not required to be out there at opening, but I do like to be out there as much as possible. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing all the people come out. I enjoy helping out there, and so I'm gonna try and get this farm knocked out to where I can be out there close to the time they open up tonight at 7. As I've been going through here cutting these beans, and now between our beans and what we custom harvested on the front end, I mean I've cut about 165 acres of full season beans in all different types of environments, everywhere from really poor thin hill ground to good high yielding productive bottoms like we're in now. And I've learned a lot, and I believe what I've learned is, we know sunlight is important to growing soybeans. That's why you plant early, so you capture more sunlight. Obviously we know water is important to soybeans, because without water, plant won't produce anything. Which one of those is the most critical factor to high yield? And I gotta say, based upon what I've seen, I think sunlight is more critical to high yielding soybeans than what water is. Obviously you need both of them. You need some of both of them, but I think sunlight is the more critical input. And obviously you can't control that, but I think there's a better chance of making higher yields in a drier year than what there is a wetter year, because on average, you're gonna have more sunlight in a drier year. The key is to get just enough water that the plants just don't absolutely shut down. As long as they got enough moisture to keep going, that's where you're going to be in your highest yield situation. And for those of y'all that can irrigate, have y'all done any experiments and trials in reducing your irrigation, just giving the soybeans just enough water to function, rather than trying to keep the soil profile as close to saturated as you can? Like right here, good bottom ground. Well, we got 80 bushel beans and didn't hardly have a drop of water after they started setting pods. Just absolutely amazing. If we'd had a typical year, a wet year where we'd had, where we had say an inch to an inch and a half of rain per week and more clouds in the sky, I have my doubts that down here in this bottom that we would be yielding this high, based upon what I've seen in past years. If you remember back to, I think it was 2003, I actually had an article wrote about me in the, I think it's the Delta Farm Press, about high yielding beans with minimal inputs. We basically did the same thing that year that we did this year. The one key difference is even though 2023 was a very dry year, we got rains just absolutely in the nick of time. Just right when the crop was starting to go backwards, we would get an inch of rain, enough to sustain the crop and keep it going until we got the next rain. But overall, the year was pretty dang dry. And, you know, we had tremendous soybean yields. We had tremendous cotton yields, whereas, you know, our corn yields kind of suffered. But the key about that year is that most of those rain events that we got, they came at night, and it was sunny, you know, the day that it rained, and then it was sunny the day after it rained. So we didn't hardly have any cloudy days, and we had just enough moisture come in right at the nick of time. And, you know, I had two top soybean yield competition entries that year. They both came in at 91 bushels an acre, which, I mean, for us is outstanding. And considering we had just absolutely minimal inputs on it, I mean, those yields were fantastic. So how has this changed my management? It's not going to change my management decisions going forward, but it's going to give me more confidence going throughout the year that if we get in a dry spell, I'm not going to sweat it on the soybean crop. You know, as long as we don't go 84 days without any rain, I think we'll probably be okay on yield. And the more we enhance the soil, give us better rooting depth, better water holding capacity, you know, the longer we will be able to continuously go without a rain. You know, just incremental improvements that we're going to make every year. So, you know, even though we're having a bad year, everything that I've seen this year, the way the plants just really held on for as long as they did, even though yield is really suffering, the plants themselves really held on far longer than I ever thought they would. You know, it's given me the confidence to know that, hey, we're doing the right thing. You know, it's just a slow, time-consuming process, but we're on the right path. We don't need to abandon it. All it's going to do is just give us greater and greater reward down the road. But what we've seen again this year, like I've seen several other years, the most important input on making big soybean yields is sunlight. That's it. Well, we just got done with a hill up there, and we're going across the creek to get to the last field. And coming down to this slough, I forgot all about, we got a small tree halfway out in there, and I don't know if I can snake this wide header all the way around it, and definitely don't want to take the 45 minutes or so it would take to go get the loader tractor to bring it down here and push it out of the way. I smooth forgot about this. I knew about it because when I was back here scouting pigweeds, I made a note to myself, we need to go push that tree out of the way. And what I do, I forgot all about it. So we want to try and ease around it. I think I might just be able to make it. All right. Thank goodness for lateral tilt. The problem, we got some steep banks on each side. Yes, made it around it. Just barely. All right, we got, I don't know, about 11, 12 acres in this long bottom. We'll have our full season beans all wrapped up. Overall farm average is sitting at 60 bushels, and I don't think this field's going to lower it any. So I gotta say, I'm mighty pleased how this farm has turned out so far.
So Mia and I got out and we ran down here to this creek, and then we ran into about 6 or 7 toms, and she thought she was a big bad dog, and she really wasn't. She was Scary Larry. But I've never seen this creek dry before. Just goes to show you how bad of a drought we really are still in, even though we got 2 inches like about 10 days ago. It's still really bad. And you know, that means that none of the wildlife have water. We have seen the deer in our backyard, even the squirrels, like pigeons, everybody drinking out of our pond because they don't have any water now. I mean, this is crazy. I've never seen this dry before. And we walked all the way down there, and I mean, it is just dry as a bone all the way across. The poor animals have nothing. That's how bad it really is. So earlier this spring, Andy sent us pictures of, there's like a couch and a love seat and a grill over there. and really thought it was like a homeless person, and come to find out the kids from the neighborhood dragged a couch out here and a grill and made themselves a little area. I don't know if you get mad at that or not. I don't think there was any alcohol found, so I mean, just let kids build forts? I don't even know. It's right over here next to the water treatment plant, so that's what you get with the subdivision. You either have kids building forts or actual homeless people living out here. These kids brought a whole sectional. A whole sectional. So they brought a whole sectional. There's 2 chairs out there. I think there was a grill. Mia, hush, there's no one there. Mimi. And there's like a funnel back there too. Kids getting real creative. But a whole sectional. A whole sectional. Shut your trap. Also, I've been avoiding the landmines, aka the armadillo holes, and she does not like any of it whatsoever. These beans have done better than the previous farm, so there's that, but also Matt is crawling and it's taking us a heck of a lot longer than it should. But we're almost done. We'll move back to the shop and then I guess wait for further instructions on what we're going to do next.
Alright guys, here's the last of our full season beans, and most definitely the last good beans we will see until this time next year, at least. Overall, this farm did, I mean, well, it did better than what I predicted just yesterday. It's averaging 59 bushels an acre. Good beans, dang good beans for the year. But now that our full season is done with, I mean, all we got left is double crop. And I'll be honest, I haven't stepped foot in a double crop soybean field in over a month now. Last time I stepped foot out in there, I was like, there ain't no point in me watching these. You know, when all the leaves drop off, I'll go out there and I'll determine if there's anything worth running the combine over. But other than that, there ain't nothing out there worth wasting my time over. But all of our full season beans totaling over 141 acres. We cut 5,800 bushels. So we got that little bin over a quarter full. So that means if there's some pleasant surprises out there in my double crop soybeans, we might run out of bin space, because I've already promised my last big bin to somebody else. Hey Kelly, I'll just bring this across the creek. I'm done now. Anyway, our full season soybean average overall 42 bushels an acre. I mean, now this farm, you know, it really pulled the average up, so that's more than I thought it was going to be. So, you know, just like the corn crop, we was pleasantly surprised. Anyway, we're going to get back over here, drop the head, get the combine and everything moved back in, go out to Camp Blood and Zombie Trail, scare some people tonight, get on the ripper first thing tomorrow, try to get this farm ripped and get all the cover crops planted on it. And then early next week, which is going to be the next video, I believe we're going to hear the whine of the fan on the cotton picker revving up, because it's going to be cotton harvesting time. My favorite time of the year. I'm trying to snake around this tree, get back out of here. Ooh. A little harder going the other direction. So anyway guys, that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate y'all watching. See you on the next one.